Thanks for joining us for our Chamber Connection podcast. Thanks to our friends at Speakeasy, we are here for the next 52 weeks, bringing you guests from around our community, elected officials, business owners, folks doing great work here in Macomb County. So sit back, take a listen, and we hope you'll join us every week for our Chamber Connection. Hi, I'm Stacy Ziarko, President and CEO of the Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for joining us for this edition of the Chamber Chat, where we focus on our members and our communities and growing our businesses in the area. So my guest today, I'm super excited to have my friend, Mayor Gus Calandrino from the city of Utica. Gus, thanks for joining me this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me, Stacy.
So Gus and I have a lot of fun when we go out and tour some of the businesses in Utica. But tell us, a little bit about about the city of Utica and then what you're most proud of there.
Wow. City of Utica. We are, I think, just a little gem surrounded by some really big, powerful neighbors, but somehow we just keep on keeping on. We're very, very fortunate to have one of the only legitimate downtown areas in Macomb County. I would probably say Mount Clemens as well. But, that's a focus area for me as mayor, is trying to keep the businesses going in our downtown, rejuvenate it, work with, the existing businesses. We're also very fortunate to have Jimmy John's Stadium, baseball there. So finding ways to, work with them, work with all our other businesses to keep our downtown thriving.
You also have some good waterways and trailways that drive people through to Utica as well.
Absolutely. We have the Iron Bell Trail runs completely through our city right along the Clinton River. And it's really kind of a unrealized gem as well. Hundreds and hundreds of people a day travel that path. It connects Dodge Park in Sterling Heights to Riverbend Park in Shelby Township. And it's just truly a gem, biking. The Clinton River's right there as well. So we get a lot of kayakers and, so we have recreation running right through the heart of our downtown.
How big is Utica?
You hear different numbers. The number
What's the official one?
I guess the number I use is 1.7 square miles.
You pack a lot into 1.7 square miles. You've got some industry, you've got retail, you've got restaurants, you've got your stadium. That's a lot in 1.7 square miles.
It sure is. And there's a lot of diversity there. We have schools in our city. We have multitude of churches in our city. The Golden Corridor, shopping, especially east of M53. We have M53 running right through our city. We have M59 running right through our city. So, there's a lot of diversity in that little 1.7 square miles.
So what do you think has been the catalyst to keep Utica on the map? We jokingly talked before we started about other municipalities having larger property. But you've made the most of some of this. What do you think has been some of the cause for businesses to come to Utica?
I think our small town feel, even though we're surrounded by so much population, we've been fairly successful at keeping that small town feel. I get business owners that want to come to the city calling me directly, and they're sometimes amazed. They're like, wow, I didn't really think I was going to get the mayor. But they do. Me and all my staff, we're very proactive in working with people that want to come to our city and making sure they're welcome and that they will succeed.
I think that, first of all, I think your community has a close-knit community where they support each other. I've watched you do different events. I've watched you do, you did the puppy parade earlier this year. People come out to support the events in your community, don't they?
They sure do. They love them. In fact, they're always asking me to do more.
We're trying.
We are.
I'm going to tease because Gus and I are planning things for this fall.
Yes, we are.
So talk about some of the businesses that are in Utica. Tell me about some of them that, come to mind.
We have Jimmy John's, which I mentioned, is a major, milestone company within our city. But we also have some businesses that have been in Utica forever, like Weingart's, USA Tire, Shamrock Pub. These businesses are iconic, and they're such a piece of the fabric of Utica that I can't imagine, us being without them.
And then you've had new ones coming in. You know, we both, Gus knows I have a favorite in vino and vibes. Anything that involves wine and food, I'm in. But you've got people like gravitating towards that downtown. You've got a new business coming in too, right in the center, right? Coming this fall?
We do. We have a new restaurant called Host, which will be a chef-driven restaurant, a little bit more upscale than some of our other offerings in downtown. I think they're going to fit very nicely with the mix that we have now, and very excited. Hopefully we'll be doing a ribbon cutting very soon.
Hey, I'm always good to bring some ribbon and scissors somewhere. What do you think are some of the challenges, though, facing Utica that might be different from other municipalities and other cities in Michigan?
We're a very old city. We've been around for a long time. Our infrastructure, unfortunately, has been a bit neglected, but we're really putting a focus on that right now.
I saw you doing some sidewalks repair this week, too.
Absolutely. Our downtown, we're doing sidewalk repairs, and our major focus is going to be the stuff underground that you don't see.
Not the fun stuff.
Not the fun stuff, but really the important stuff.
Absolutely. You have an active police department, active fire department, too. Even for such a small town, sometimes those are things that you might have shared services, but you continue to have your own, correct?
We do. I get told all the time by other local officials and county officials, you really should partner up with, other cities or county, but I just don't think that would work in Utica. That is part of what we are. Mm-hmm. That's what makes up our city. And we love our police. We love our fire. We love our DPW. While I'm on watch, I don't see us ever outsourcing those services.
I think that's fantastic. It kind of keeps, your uniqueness then too, is that, if somebody has a problem, if one of your residents need police, they're coming close and they might know those residents as well.
Oh, we absolutely do. We just put a new basketball court in at our Grant Park. And one of my officers was so excited about it. He's actually our newest police officer. He came up to me and said, Mayor, I got to tell you, I love that court. I was out there playing for an hour with the neighborhood kids. So, that's the kind of relationship that our police, our fire, and even our DPW have with our residents. We're a very small city. Our guys are always telling me, boy, I drive through the neighborhood and people just wave to me and smile. So I can't imagine us ever changing that formula.
And you know what? It works. And like you said, that the police officer that played with those kids in Grant Park, you can't find that anywhere else. You can't find that in a lot of cities. Police are great at connecting with their communities, which helps those kids in the long run too.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about, this Grant Park project. This was really, really cool.
The basketball courts.
Yes.
Marvin Kesey, who owns Puff, the brand new dispensary.
One of our chamber members.
And we both went to the ribbon cutting last summer, I believe. Came to me and said, well, what can I do for the city? And, one of the things that was on my list that I wanted to take care of was resurfacing our basketball courts. I'll tell you, very generously, he didn't even ask what the cost was. He even went out and researched vendors, got us quotes. He was just fantastic.
So you bring up a good point. Utica is home to some of Macomb County's dispensaries. You've got 2 of them in Macomb County. You've been a community that opted in, where some others have, opted out or are still making those decisions. What are some of the benefits that Utica has seen to having these businesses in the community?
Well, because we're so small and because we're surrounded by such big and powerful neighbors, we knew right out of the gate that we can't really build out anymore. We're already built up.
If you're going anywhere, you're building up.
We have to build up or we have to build differently. And that's where I believe we saw the marijuana dispensaries fitting into that equation, right? It's building differently. We don't have the liberty to stay with the status quo. If we want to remain relevant, we have to do things differently. We have to be more agile. And that's what, that's how the marijuana dispensaries came about. So far, it's been a very successful venture. I think our residents, we listened to our residents all along the way through the process. Obviously, we had supporters and we had detractors. But the supporters did outnumber both, from talking to them and also at the ballot box.
Because you had yours on the ballot in Utica, correct?
Well, I'm talking about the actual Michigan.
Yeah, okay. You didn't have it as a referendum on your ballot, your local ballot.
No. Both of the business owners that we have now, Cloud and Puff, they've been great members of our community. As we mentioned, they donated the services to resurface the basketball courts, but they've done so much more than that. We have a movie night at Grant Park coming up. Puff completely paid for it, so our residents get to enjoy that without having, us, the city, have to pay using tax dollars. At one of our biggest events of the year, our Christmas tree lighting, I went to them and asked for sponsorship for our fireworks. We do something kind of quirky. We do fireworks for our Christmas tree lighting.
So instead of having Christmas in July, you have 4th of July at Christmas.
Yes.
All right, I like it.
I get asked about that. It's a little bit odd, but we get fireworks every Friday in the summer from Jimmy John's.
So at a certain point, you need them different times of the year.
And that's what we kind of thought. So that's how that whole thing evolved. But when I went to Puff and Cloud to find sponsorship, they both said, well, how much does the whole thing cost? And I told them it was about $6,000. They said, well, we're going to split it down the middle and pay for it. Every event in the city.
So they work together as well.
They do.
Being friendly competitors, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And so, that your Christmas event was incredibly well attended. It was very, very cold.
It was, and windy.
Yes.
The big Christmas tree was dancing. I'm telling you, I went down to Memorial Park.
So you have fireworks and a dancing Christmas tree?
We did.
So when is that in December? Because clearly people don't want to miss that.
It's the first Saturday of December.
All right. You do talk about all the amenities that, your small town feel has. What are some of the other things that Utica does for the residents throughout the course of the year? You talked about Christmas. We've got movies in Grant Park. What else is going on in Utica?
Every Friday night we have Weekend Unwind, which is a free music series. Very good local bands come out. Very excellent turnout. I'm usually there every Friday. It's right along the Clinton River. It's just a very pleasant night. And of course, we get to watch the Jimmy John's fireworks. It usually happens towards the end of the performance.
So again, you're bringing some great amenities to your residents. You talk about having a great relationship with the business community. Jimmy John's physically is a huge, landmark in Utica. How does that partnership work for you all? How do does all of the people that come to the games? Are they supporting our local businesses in Utica after they leave the games, and how can we get them there?
Truthfully, I think the city can do a better job capitalizing on the huge crowds that Jimmy John sees. 4,000 people on a Friday and a Saturday, right, for sure. And when they have Wednesday, Thursday games, they do very well there. We haven't quite figured out how to capitalize on that and get those people into our downtown, but we're working on it.
You've got some really cool businesses that we've had the opportunity to work with. You also have become a little mecca for vintage toys.
Oh, boy.
Comic books. You've got 2 of these places right on Van Dyke. Talk a little bit about those 2.
We actually have 3.
Sorry.
There's a brand new one coming.
Oh, well, we like brand new businesses.
It really started with Sergeant Red's. Mm-hmm. They took the old, pretty much decaying and falling apart novelty store. Was also a landmark. In Utica.
They'd been there forever.
But they were vacant for many, many years. The building was in, very bad condition because it had sat vacant so long. But John Davis and his wife Denise came in and fell in love with the building. And you hear the term labor of love. This truly was a labor of love.
God, it was so cool.
Because they could have moved into a strip mall anywhere, turn the key and open the business. Yeah. These guys spent, I think it was about 1.5 years, 2 years, renovating the building all the way to the studs to bring it to code. Obviously they had to bring it up to ADA standards, to put a ramp, to allow people that needed access that way. But just the bones of the building, they went down to that, and the results are just gorgeous. And it's a quirky, weird, fabulous store. I don't know much about vintage toys, but I go in there and I look around and I'm like, boy, this is like a museum.
It is. I've tried to sell my old Barbie dolls there, but apparently I'm not the only one trying to sell her holiday Barbies at some point in life. But it was really cool. And I think it shows Utica's uniqueness in a lot of ways, that these businesses are coming here, right? Sergeant Red, there's a comic book store just north of them. You could make a day of it. You could come there, you could visit all of these stores, go to lunch in downtown, and really feel like you are in a downtown setting.
Yep. And we hope to be even improving on that more and more in the future, too.
You know, I always say Sergeant Red's, it's the only ribbon cutting I've ever been to where we shut down a major thoroughfare of Van Dyke so that we could have a good photo op. It only happens in Utica. I say that I've said that forever. It was such a Utica thing. We shut down Van Dyke for a few minutes. No big deal. Gus is out there stopping traffic for us. Right?
Absolutely.
It was a riot. But I think that, nobody minded. I don't think, the county got mad, but we had a ball, and I think the business owners are grateful. The business owners are grateful for what you provide, because I bet every single business in Utica you have visited and worked with.
Absolutely.
And you stop by, you pop in, you talk to them, and you see how they're doing and what you can do better.
Yep. Take their phone calls. Yeah. Again, it goes back to that small town feel. I try to be as accessible as I can. Everyone gets my own personal cell phone number that I carry all day, every day. And that's just the way, again, it's part of being agile and just having to be different, to be able to remain relevant. We just have to do things that way.
What do you think, looking ahead to the rest of 2022 and into 2023, is going to put you and Utica just in a great position? What are some of the plans that you see in the future that, Macomb County is going to say that happened in Utica?
Right now, my focus, again, is on some of the non-exciting stuff in the city. I'm in the last year of my first term as mayor.
Okay.
I'm fortunate enough that I'm running unopposed in November. So I'm trying to formulate my plans for the second term.
Are your terms 2 years or 4 years?
2 years in Utica. City council is 4 and mayor is 2. So the first 2 years I spent a lot of time getting my feet under me, meeting people, making connections. Sure. We got some pretty major road things done, some improvements to our park. I had to work through every single labor contract. They just all came up on my first term. And that takes up a huge amount of bandwidth, doing that the right way.
Sure.
So those are all just about, completed now. So for the second term, my focus is going to be on improving some of our existing businesses, working on some blight issues and beautification issues, and a lot of infrastructure. We've still got our ARPA money that we haven't spent. We're formulating plans on that.
That was going to be my next question, is what's the plan?
I jumped the gun.
No, what's the plan for your ARPA dollars?
We did not get a lot. Because it's based on population, sure. Which of course, we only have 5,200 residents in Utica because of our size. We don't have a lot of options. That money, it needs to go. This is one-time money, right? Windfall money that we're never going to see again.
Correct.
So my strategy, and thankfully, city council supports this strategy, is to put that in infrastructure, fix the things that have been neglected for many, many years. So that amount we had a SAW grant, which televised or recorded the condition of all of our sewer and water systems in the city, rated from, worst to best. And I think there were 5 categories, from 5 being the worst down to 1 being the best. That ARPA money can fix every one of our 5s.
That's huge.
Every single item that is listed as our worst can be fixed with that ARPA money. So we haven't made the final decision yet, but that's certainly what I'm rooting for and supporting.
So people understand, without those ARPA dollars to fix those 5s, how long would that take you to do?
Oh, well, honestly, we would have to go to the residents and bond that out.
Sure.
Or raise water rates and sewer rates, which we don't want to do that either.
So this is the windfall will certainly help you kind of grow in the long run.
Absolutely.
So for people listening, they want to visit Utica. What's a day there look like? How should they start? How should they spend their day? What businesses should they visit?
I would say go get the Southern Omelet at Savory Grill on Van Dyke.
All right.
You can't beat that. Or if you're getting a late start, still start at Savory and get the Greek salad.
Okay.
Greek chicken salad. It is amazing.
Those are my favorite.
Right across the street from there, we talked about Sergeant Red's. Also, I'd be amiss to not mention Funky Town.
Yeah.
Which is the other vintage toy and
they have comic books, right?
And comic books, and they have a little bit more modern stuff and more, it's less resale and more, brand new items. My kids love both of them, so I would say they're, not even a block apart.
Can walk.
Visit both of those stores. We have a beautiful park, Memorial Park, right in downtown. It's along the Clinton River. You can't miss it because there's a big clock tower there in the middle. I would say spend a little bit of time there, enjoy the Clinton River. Our library is right there. When you get hungry for lunch, absolutely, you got to try Shamrock. It's iconic.
It's one of the best burgers in Macomb County. Rated all the time, one of the top 2 burgers in the county.
They're always on the list, if not the top. So.
And I loved them, not to interrupt your day. When they closed during the pandemic, I think they said that they had been there 40 years, and at 40 years, everybody needs a facelift. And so they did some really good work there, too.
Yes, they did. Some new signage. The whole inside got painted, and a little more of a refreshment, refreshing the paint job and some of the woodwork. It's beautiful in there.
All right, so we've had burgers. Where do we go next?
Wow. Well, you could always pop in and visit me at City Hall because I'm not far from there. Right across from Shamrock, we have 2 other iconic Utica places. Steampunk, which is my favorite place to get an adult beverage, and Locker Room right on the corner, another business that's just been there forever. I think I had one of my first beers ever in the Locker Room many, many years ago. And then a new establishment called Vino and Vibe, which is a little more upscale. They do small plates. Wine, great selection of wine. They also have beer.
Unfortunately, sadly, they don't me by name there. And the type of wine that I drink. Figure that is a problem.
And you're not limited to alcohol.
No.
They also have wonderful cappuccino machine.
Mocktails.
So, as you could probably guess from the name, the vibe is really incredible in there. Sometimes they have DJs, bands, and both the owners just have excellent choice in wine and food, but also excellent choice in music. So it's always an enjoyable time there.
So you're telling me there's plenty to do in Utica all the time. For 1.7 square miles, you're making the most of it.
We certainly are.
So I encourage our listeners and our followers to check out downtown Utica, check out the business community that's there. Gus, we thank you for being a part not only of our podcast, but of our chamber. You are a constant support to us and to the businesses that we service in Utica. So first of all, thanks for joining me today, and we hope that you will turn into the next Chamber Connection.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chamber Connection. Be sure to check out information on the Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce website, our Facebook page, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We look forward to you connecting with us and tuning in next week.